We're just chatting with each other, so it literally nothing matters. Right?
Yeah, I would say that about most things, too.
That nothing matters?
Yeah.
Have we started the podcast yet? What is happening?
Yeah, it's been recording
We
for
didn't
like
welcome
4 minutes.
anybody. Oh, you're probably just going to make it funny. Anyway, maybe we should start with something just so that we have, just in case you can't piece enough together for it to be cohesive.
It's understandable. We should probably introduce ourselves.
Totally.
Yeah,
For sure.
totally. Yeah.
Okay, well, clearly we've never done a podcast before, so we might look back on this in, honestly, a week and hate ourselves.
Probably.
But for now,
But
hi.
hey, an experiment in pushing ourselves, am I right?
And honestly, maybe 5 people will listen to this one, so we'll see.
Yeah, who knows? What's up? I'm Ty.
And I'm Monica, and this is the What Do You Mean podcast. WDYM, if you will.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the podcast.
See you next week.
Welcome back. Yeah, I don't know. This week we just wanted to talk about us because it's what we know.
We're going to have to do so much editing for this episode.
Yeah.
I feel like we'll get better at it. I was telling him before we started, but I was like, I feel like we just have to push through the beginning episode just to get it over with.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what everybody says that starts a podcast.
Yeah, and making anything. Like, I feel like people are always talking about just like you have to make stuff and then put it out and then be done.
Which I'm like not good at. I'm known for like putting myself out there and then deleting it later on. Like when I went through my blogger phase, you won't find that shit anywhere now.
That's
gone.
true. Well, and I'm the opposite though, where I'm really good at starting stuff and that's it. Like I'm like, let's do it. And
Can't confirm.
The second I start it, I move on to something else that I want to start. So, I mean, this podcast is a good illustration of that, where like I wanted to make it 2 months ago.
Yeah, and he literally immediately bought us an entire podcast setup. So we kind of were forced to do it, which is nice. Like, you bought the stuff, so at that point...
Yeah, we kind of had no choice, because otherwise it would have been a waste. But...
Can't be wasting our money.
Can't be wasting our cash. But if, at the same time, if I had made it in a week... like I wanted to initially, it'd probably be A, pretty shitty, and B, I would have given up on it already.
That is true. I feel like when he first mentioned doing this podcast, he was like, we could start it next week. Do you want to start recording episodes? And I was like, I think we have to take a couple other steps first.
Like, but first, then, like, what's the name? What's the premise? What's the branding?
The vibe?
And I was
we have a couple microphones. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I just like to make shit, and sometimes I should probably slow down, eh?
Cool. Well, to start, I assume most people that listen to this podcast from the first episode are going to be people that know us. But on the off chance that this finds your ears and you don't know us, we're going to start off just by telling you a little bit about us, our story, why we're podcasting, why you should care. Just kidding. You don't have to care if you don't want to.
Maybe why you shouldn't. Honestly,
yeah, you'll probably determine one or the other by the end of this.
By the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I grew up in Colorado, an hour south of Denver in Colorado Springs. Most people ask me, wasn't it so beautiful? Don't you just miss it every day? And
they do ask you that a lot.
They ask me that all the time.
Every time I'm with you and you meet somebody that was either lived in Colorado before or has never been, always thinks.
Or somebody that visited.
Yeah.
It's really anyone under the sun that knows what Colorado is, assumes I miss it every single day of my life. And unfortunately, my answer is always no.
Right.
I would never live there again in my life. You couldn't pay me to do it.
Your parents are listening to this, cool.
Like awesome. No, and it's not anything against my parents. I love my parents and my family a lot, and I love visiting them. It's just Colorado is like, I tell people all the time, I don't like outdoorsy shit. Like, it's not my thing. I was always a city kid. And so if you really like being outdoors and kayaking and hiking and camping, Colorado's dope. And if you don't like that, there's not really a good reason to live in Colorado, at least in my opinion. So, so I grew up in Colorado, grew up very conservative Christian as a kiddo. And then what did I do after that? Well, yeah.
Okay, I'll take it away.
This is good. How well can you tell my story?
Oh, true.
Ooh.
Okay, well, you grew up in Colorado,
Yeah.
right from Colorado. Mm-hmm. He didn't go to college. He went to Australia.
Nice. Why?
For YWAM. Am I allowed to say specific
I don't care.
things?
Yeah, why not? I'm an open book.
I don't know why I'm acting like you're on contract for YWAM or something and you're not allowed to talk about it. But
I would love to talk about YWAM.
Yeah, you went there for YWAM, and then...
Was there anything specific with that?
Where you, like, learn stuff.
Yeah.
That was, like, your
Do you know
learning
why I
period.
chose it, though?
For the kangaroos.
And
the koalas.
I wish.
Oh.
That was a good side effect.
It was a selling point,
going
though?
there.
The kangaroos?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, what was
But the main selling point was that it was a music school. So
I feel like I've never known that.
Yeah, so I studied music and discipleship while I was there.
Am I still going with that?
Keep going, yeah. What you got next? What did I do next?
After that, you went to Hawaii. Mm-hmm. Did you go right from Australia to Hawaii?
There was like a little 2.5 month intermission where I was in Colorado.
Okay.
Back to serving coffee.
Then he went to Hawaii where he was for 2 years.
Nice. Do you know why?
You were doing, I forget what you call it, but you were actually like...
I was on
literally
staff.
A missionary. Yeah.
Yeah. I was on staff with a YWAM base.
Okay.
But do you know what I did there? That's like the more interesting thing.
Oh, like the job that you did?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did you started doing like editing stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. That was part of it, yeah.
And video and...
Totally.
Coffee and...
Yep.
Was that your main job? Coffee?
Yeah. So
and then you took on the video work.
Exactly.
Because you wanted the experience.
The main reason I went was to open a coffee shop. And then I got into video because I was just a photographer and I was scared of video. But basically, Kona didn't have anything music for me to do. And so I needed a different creative outlet. And so I started making videos. And then I made videos for the YWAM base, which was fun.
Great. And then after that, he moved back home for a sec. Mm-hmm. And then made the trek out here to Nashville back in 2019.
Nice. Yeah.
With just a dream and the guitar strapped to his back.
Yeah.
$20 to his name.
Honestly, yeah. I think I had $100 when I got off the plane.
Okay.
And I spent 60 of it in my first day.
I gotta say, for those of you who don't know Ty, he loves to make it his personality trait that he moved here with nothing and lived on a couch with a bunch of boys.
That's true.
It's a good fun one.
Yeah, and it's a funny story.
But it's like you love to lead with that.
I do.
And so if you meet him and you ask him when he moved here, he'll tell you the story.
Yeah. That's very true. I tell that story often.
It's a good story though, because you have come a very long way in 3 years.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think that's why I like it. I also like it. Well, also I thought it was funny at the time because I had watched stuff about like Post Malone and he had done a similar thing where he moved to LA with like nothing and crashed on his friend's couch and stuff. And then he got famous. And secretly I just like to compare myself to Post Malone.
You love Posty.
Who doesn't? Crazy people. That's who. Good. So I was poor. I lived on my friend's couch for 9 months. And then?
Yeah, I mean...
Anything else to that?
Yes, there's a lot. I mean, I'm sure we'll dive deeper into our personal and like professional things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's basically the story of how you got here.
Don't live on a couch anymore. That's
the main thing to know here. If you take away anything, just know we're living the high life in our overpriced apartment.
Nashville apartment.
That's not anything special, but
yeah. Hey, it's a nice apartment though.
Yeah, it's a nice apartment. We're decorating it. It's cute. that all you have? Whoa.
Yeah, I think so. Mostly because like once it picks up with you, then our stories intermingle. But let's give them the backstory on you. You know?
Okay. My backstory. Mine isn't as exciting because I don't have like a huge. I feel like.
Yeah, but you traveled more. Well, when you were young,
what are you talking about?
You lived in multiple places. I just lived in the same place.
Yeah, but no. Okay, so I was born in Florida and lived there until I was 10 years old, which I feel like now I'm 25, so that was 15 years ago. So at this point, I can't even really say like I moved to Nashville. Like, no, I just tell people I'm from here because like.
It is weird. I feel a little bad for you sometimes because people are like, are you native?
I really pity you sometimes.
No.
I'd really hate to be you.
No. It's like, well, because like Nashville people that are from Nashville have a weird pride about being from Nashville.
Yeah, and I'm not really, because I still like very vividly remember when I first moved to Nashville and people would be like, where are you from? And I was the new person that wasn't from here. And everybody else grew up here because we were all kids. So obviously nobody was really like a transfer from another place unless it was just more rare. Like most of the kids that I went to school with were born and raised. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I've lived a little bit outside of Nashville when we first moved here. And then I went to college in Nashville and moved back home with my parents for a little bit after that. That's when COVID hit, so it sucked.
Yeah, that was a little tough for you, right?
I love my parents, but it was just at that time where it's like, okay, I'm coming from living away at college to now being back with my parents, and now we're all stuck together because it's COVID.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's a little tough.
Yeah, moved out. I have a dent in my head.
Why do you have a dent in your head? What happened?
I don't know. We're going to have to talk about that later. I'm not joking.
Why don't we talk about it now? That seems kind of pressing.
I legitimately feel a dent in my head. It could just be the shape of my head, and I've never noticed until now. That's going to be something to look into.
Okay.
Yeah, moved out, got a job, ended up meeting Ty. Like, there's a lot more in between there that I feel like, you know.
What'd you major in?
No one cares.
Okay.
Next segment. No, I majored in entertainment industry studies and I minored in public relations, and now I work with influencers. I know. Well, I guess it's like kind of PR, but I work in like influencer management, so I do a lot of social media stuff. So
yeah,
not really anything that you could go to school for at the time.
That's true. Like
there wasn't there wasn't like an influencer management major.
Right.
There wasn't even really a social media major. There was like a minor. Yeah. I don't even think it was a minor.
I feel like most people would have done like
because social media was
art or like design or something if you were wanting to do, or PR.
I think social media, it was like a branch of PR, and I just minored in PR, so I had like maybe 1 or 2 social media classes, but
yeah. And I mean at the time I guess like influencing barely existed when you started.
It definitely existed, but it wasn't something that people studied. And I don't even know if now it's something people study. It is a type. It probably is a branch of like marketing because, you know, influencer marketing. They probably have classes on that, maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah, they probably don't have like classes on how to be an influencer.
I'd take one.
I mean, I bet like not at universities at least.
Right. It's just so different from anything you can really go to school for because it's so.
It's
not very tangible of a thing. And I feel like influencing can look so different. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It's not like just being a business major that there's like a set route.
And you can't teach somebody how to build a following. It's like...
Yeah, they kind of just have to like find it for themselves.
Yeah, so that's what I do. I mean...
Please like and subscribe.
Please. No, but yeah, that's kind of me. I mean, that's the gist.
That's good.
Thank you.
Well said.
But I know the reason why you're all here is to know how we met.
Right.
How we got to be sitting here on our couch in our 2-bedroom apartment.
Right.
Good podcast.
Yep.
So, Ty and I met in, I would say, not an unconventional way at the time even, because honestly, at the time we met, it was very common, I feel like.
Yeah, and we had a lot of friends that met the same way, roughly the same time.
Yes, but I think just like with the times back during COVID, it was like
we met
I'm
on
making this a big
media.
thing. We met on Bumble. Like,
Yeah, sorry, not social media. We met on a dating app.
which I guess is social media, but
I guess it's
we met
sorts.
on Bumble, the dating app where the girls talk first. So I
Yeah,
made the first move.
you did.
But
how did that feel?
I had been doing it for a long ass time.
That's fair.
That's the thing. I apparently, so he says, was Ty's very first dating app date.
That's true. Yeah, I had never been on a date. I had talked to people on Bumble before, but never
Gone on dates with
gone
them.
on an actual date. 'Cause
I
it always felt scary.
I unfortunately made my rounds on dating apps.
Yeah, you did.
Like, it was to the
You've been on a
point where,
few.
like, you match with one on one, it like fizzles out, and then you rematch on another one and just act like you had never met before in the first place. Like,
Right. You just like
I have
keep
been on
talking,
dating apps
like
for so long. Yeah, but
pick a new branch of conversation. To
It
go
kind of
with.
got to the point for me, though, where it was just like, it was not a big deal for me to be on a dating app. So, like, I didn't really anticipate anything coming of us matching. I was like, cool.
Honestly, same though.
Another-
Like dating apps for me were not super. Like they weren't something I was even fully looking to go on a date necessarily. Like I was just like talking to people. Maybe that was shady of me, but I was just like talking.
No, that's what
to people, and I
everybody
was like-
does. Like, I feel like people act like,
well, and I feel like our generation is so used to like having text conversations with people, and like that's like a major way of communicating with people, that it wasn't weird for me to not know those people in person.
right, yeah. And it wasn't,
You know?
and it was just like a much more normal thing to meet people on dating apps. So it wasn't like, but at the time, I didn't really know of a ton of people who had met on a dating app. So it was just like, I would say out of the people we know, we were some of the first to have met
definitely
on a dating app.
to have a success story. Because
Yeah.
like I know a lot of people that have met on dating apps or like gone on dates, and they're like, oh yeah, I went on a date with that guy, but now
Or
they're,
like we dated for a while. But.
yeah, but now they're dating someone else, or they're single, or whatever.
So yeah, we met on Bumble. Long story short, we kind of had a couple mutual friends. So
Yeah, at first when I was embarrassed to tell my parents that I met on a dating app,
That's
I told them I
hilarious.
met you through mutual friends, which wasn't not true.
yeah, it wasn't a total lie. I, at that point, though, had been on Bumble for so long. I was like, I met this guy on Bumble and I'm going on a date with him. And my parents were like, okay.
Yeah.
They probably didn't think anything would come of it because nothing ever did, but then it did. So we were all pleasantly surprised.
Exactly. It was great.
So yeah, anyway, we dated for we moved pretty fast, I will say. Looking back, it didn't feel as fast in the
Didn't.
moment.
And we
but
talked for 3 weeks before we actually met in person? Maybe 2.
Maybe 2. We started talking end of October, went on our first date mid-November, started dating a month later.
Yeah.
So that was pretty quick, but it's one of those when you know type vibes
Yeah.
because we, within 2 months, knew we were going to get married, no doubt.
Within 2 months of dating. Not
Yeah.
since, well, I feel like we both
It might have been unspoken.
we both secretly knew.
Yeah, but it wasn't vocalized until 2 months in. But then by after we first got it out in the open, we were completely open talking about it for
Yeah.
the next however
We
many
started
months until we
dating
got
in
engaged.
December, and by the end of January, we both were like, so we're getting married, right?
Yeah, and then in July, so 7-8 months later, we got engaged, and then we got married this past March.
So all in all,
We dated 8 months, we're engaged 8 months, now we've been married for 6 months.
Yeah.
So we have not even known each other yet for 2 years.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Because I can't comprehend not knowing you at this point.
Imagine life without you.
Because I can't.
No, I feel the same way. The past 2 years,
So
I know it's everybody says it, but the past 2 years are literally a blur, and I feel
yeah.
so many things changed.
So many things changed and in such a drastic way.
Yeah.
On so many fronts, professionally for us both.
Yeah, we both have. You've
Obviously
switched jobs
romantically.
twice. I switched jobs once. We obviously got engaged. We're married. We moved. Lots of things happened,
Moved
and
in together, all of that stuff.
yeah. So
I guess just comes with getting married. That felt weird.
believe it or not, we actually live together.
Yeah.
We can dive more into all that another
the next
day. But
step in our marriage is having a podcast together.
honestly, our marriage wasn't.
It was on the rocks.
This is actually our therapy.
This is our therapy. We couldn't afford therapy, so we bought microphones.
gosh.
That's a lie.
That's bullshit.
No, but
we thought it would be fun just to have, because I feel like we've been talking for a while about wanting to do something kind of creative together.
And at some point, we tried to start a YouTube channel, and it did not go very well.
It just didn't pan out because we had different ideas for what it would be. And I feel like at the time, we weren't integrated enough in each other's lives that...
Been dating for like 2 months.
Yeah, and that was one of those scenarios where Ty jumped the gun and wanted to do something immediately. And I was down because it did sound fun, but I think we just could have planned it better. But
we had been dating for 2 months, so she didn't know how to tell me, slow the frick down, Ty. And now...
You can see it in my eyes if you look at the YouTube videos. I'm like,
you can.
I'm scared.
You can. You can see you like, I don't know what the hell's going on here.
Like, I literally hate it here. Jokes.
But, I mean, ultimately, we really did. We had two very drastically different ideas of what that YouTube channel was going to be. And so it just didn't pan out. And
it's not completely off the table. Like, we could go back to something like that eventually, but...
And I hope we do. I think we both do.
Yeah.
Just more in line with what we both would and can do.
Right. And I think, like, a podcast is different because it's us sitting down, having conversations with each other. It's more organic feeling and less, like, curated, and it's structured, but it's like we know how to talk to each other. We don't have to try and figure out, like, all right, what's this video going to be about? Like, for this, we pick a topic.
We just talk
make
about
a couple
it for
notes
like an hour.
on what we want to talk about.
Yeah.
And then we just straight vibe.
Yeah. Exactly. And like I felt like a lot of the time too, even with that YouTube channel, like one of the main things people would tell us was like, I just want to like see you guys hang out.
Yeah. Yeah,
we
totally.
were like, oh.
Well, yeah.
And I think you knew that going in. And
I was about to be like, and that's what I wanted too. But
yeah, and I was like determined to be like a career-driven YouTube channel, which didn't make sense for us since we have two drastically different careers.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's like, which kind of goes into like why we started this podcast, because we have very different, I would say we're both creative people. You're definitely more creative than me.
I don't think that's true at all.
That is very true.
I just have a historically more creative job than you.
I would disagree with that. Are we about to fight right now?
Fight on episode 1?
The way he just like froze. He was like,
I was just thinking
said
about
something wrong. I've made a mistake. No, I think my job is very creative. It's just a different type.
Yeah.
And yes, like you have to, yours is a little bit more intricate in ways.
Yeah. I think what I'm saying is in the public eye, people perceive my job as more creative. And I don't think that's right.
That's fair, because I do feel like the type of thing that I do, people are still coming around to it and don't see it for what it fully is.
Realize that like content creation and influencing is like a very creative endeavor.
You have to be like good influencers have to be like good.
They're good
like,
marketers. Like they have to be thinking of creative ways to deliver information to people
that feels organic
that
and like
feels
completely
real,
natural.
Feels like comfy.
Yeah.
Whereas like my job, people are like, "Oh, you're like editing videos and putting together shoots." Like they expect that to be creative, which is weird.
Right. Anyway, all that to say, we're creative in different ways, but wanted to figure out a way to kind of combine that without it being career driven, because I think we've both kind of come to the conclusion that like our jobs don't collide. Like they could, but they don't in our world, and there's no need to try and like do something that combines the two. Like it feels forced and not like fun.
Yeah, I agree.
But we do know like how we live together and like what we like to talk about together and like our lifestyle together, and just like we have fun conversations about like fun things. And we have microphones.
Yeah. And that was, I think the other thing for me was like, I didn't want to start something with you that was so focused on something else. Like I just wanted a way to hang out.
Yeah.
And like to do that creatively and like have something that we're working on together.
Yeah.
Because we already like, we both worked 9 to 5s. We both have a lot of shit going on. Any time that we get together is valuable to us. And so like I didn't want to be working on something that caused crazy mental strain for us.
Right, and just takes more of our time that we would like to spend together, but then we don't have
Right.
the time to the way we would want to.
Right. Like
Yada yada.
saying a scripted video to a camera with you sitting next to me is way less fun than just actually talking to you.
Right, because literally right now I am in the worst. My posture, absolutely horrid, but it's fine. It's like vibes because no one can see me.
Yeah, mine's not great.
Yeah,
For the record, I mean, I'm kicked.
you're kicked back. I'm
right
kicked
now.
back, hunched. It's not cute, but anyway.
I think you're cute.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So yeah,
Yeah,
we're
really,
podcasters now.
we just like to chat. And honestly, there are so many things that he and I have talked about together that I'm like, we need to have other ears listening in on this so that we can have like more opinions and more people can like be in on this conversation, because there are so many things that we talk about that literally make us go, what do you mean?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Like once a day at least.
Yeah, we had
one
like
of us
5
is
of
yelling,
them today.
What do you mean? Either not at each other, but like at a concept together.
Yeah, so
or at our
we're
computers or something.
inviting the masses in on all of that while really just vibing, talking about life, maybe some marriage stuff, lifestyle stuff, maybe some religious stuff if we're feeling crazy.
If we really feel crazy.
Job stuff, passion stuff. Honestly, whatever TF we feel like talking about. So
Yeah,
that's the vibes.
that is the vibes. Do you want to give us the what do you mean of the day, week?
Do we have one? I didn't really.
I didn't really prep one.
Okay, then no. Tyler, I have 2 dents in my head.
What are you talking about? Why did you call me Tyler?
Please feel this. I'm not joking.
Okay.
Okay, where are my fingers?
Oh yeah, that's a dent.
That's a dent.
That is a
Feel
dent.
right next to it.
Okay, actually, you know
Maybe
what?
that's just the shape of one's skull and I've never felt it, but that is a dent if I've ever felt one.
That is a solid dent, yeah. Now I'm feeling my own head to figure out if I have a dent.
Tune in next week.
And then next week to find out if Ty has a dent too.
Amazing. Well, I feel like we've covered everything
I think so.
that we need to for this episode.
Yeah.
Hopefully we didn't bore you to death. If we did, just don't let the door hit you on the way out. I'm kidding. No.
Yeah, good freaking riddance, my guy.
If we did, totally understandable. Cooper already left forever ago.
Yeah.
We did not even tell him about our rabbit.
We have a pet rabbit. Now we did.
We'll throw that in somewhere.
Yeah, we'll talk about him.
You'll hear all
We'll
about
probably,
him.
we actually plan on doing a full episode about him at some point.
He'll be interviewed, so be sure to
Yeah.
be sure to
Get
tune in
ready
for that. Cooper tells all.
Oh my god, that's
We
really
give him
funny.
little headphones. Oh my gosh.
We should take a photo.
We're
of that.
gonna put a photo of
Should
that
we
and put it on the
dress him
podcast
up as a
with
What Do You Mean
headphones.
podcaster?
Yes, we're gonna give him.
Is that his Halloween outfit?
Stop! Please be on the lookout on our Instagram because that would be
That'd be
so cute.
great.
Anyway,
Okay.
we'll put our Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. I think that's actually all we have in the show notes. Our personal and our podcast. We'll post about new episodes on our podcast Instagram. We're not really sure what we're doing with TikTok yet. We'll figure that out, but you know,
Give it a follow.
tune
I
in
guess.
if you want to see.
Follow the
what that
podcast
mess is
'cause
like.
on whatever platform you're listening to this on, I guess.
Oh, we got to plug Cooper too, at Cooper the Lop on Instagram.
Yeah, don't worry about our Instagrams. Follow that one.
Honestly, yeah, that's the main one we should all be concerned with. How do we end a podcast?
I love you.
Absolutely not.
All
All right.
right. See you next time.
Bye.